Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Reclaiming Your Life. I am your host, Kamara.
This podcast is designed to help women overcome their insecurities, self-doubt, and fears within themselves to pursue their dreams by telling her own life experiences. Here's your host, Kamara.
Yes, y'all, welcome back to another episode of Reclaiming Your Life. I am your host, Kamara. Thank you for joining me each and every Friday. To all my new listeners, thank you for joining me for the first time. You will be in for a treat. You won't regret it. You'll be back. And to all my day one listeners, or not even day one listeners, thank you for joining me each and every Friday. I appreciate it. I am glad you are here with me. I enjoy the company. Shout out to all my listeners out there. Just to name a few: Ohio, North Carolina, Connecticut, of course, New Jersey, Maryland. Hope I didn't forget anyone, I was just naming a few states, but I just want to say shout out to my listeners. I really appreciate you guys. I truly do. It means so much to me. This is episode 11. I am moving on up with these episodes, and I am happy and excited that I'm able to come back each and every Friday to you guys with something original, something fresh, something hopefully that would inspire you and resonate with you, and you can take something from it and apply it to your life, or don't apply it to your life, but hope it can resonate with you, like that is me, or that was me at one point. So I just hope you're gaining something from it. I would love to hear from you guys. If you can email me, reclaimingyourlife01@gmail.com. You can follow me on Instagram, Reclaiming Your Life. You can send me a friend request if you like on Facebook. It's my name, Kamara Thorburn. Like my Facebook page, you guys, Reclaiming Your Life, and join my community. I have a private or closed Facebook group. Reclaiming Your Life Insider is I just give some tips, motivational tips, inspirations. People will comment or share stories, their testimonies, and things of that nature. So join my community, you guys. Let's support one another in whatever it is that we're going through, because there's so much that we go through that we don't talk about it. And my community is somewhere where you can share those without being judged. It's a judge-free zone, so I do not condone anybody bashing anybody, or talking negative to anyone. That's one thing we do not do in my community over at Reclaiming Your Life Insider. So join my community, guys, and let's connect and let's chat. Today I am going to be doing something different. I am basically storytelling. I am going to be telling you my story. Hopefully I won't be too much all over the place with it, but it's just to give you a little bit more insight on things that I have been through and that I overcame. And I am not where I want to be in life, but I am grateful for where I am. And, I just been through some things and I overcame it, and I am where I'm at now. And I will continue to share my success stories and, not so much success stories throughout my journey as I continue to grow in reclaiming your life. So it's just basically storytelling, and I will have a message in it all. I do have my mommy makeover, my Mother's Day mommy makeover coming up for May, and I want to apologize to everyone in the greater Hartford or Connecticut for not posting the details this week, as I did mention last week. I had a delay with some things, so I will be posting all the information and the requirements next week. So I did not forget, this is still on. I am still doing this. And again, shout out to my sponsors who are making my dream a reality, because without them I would not be able to have my Mother's Day mommy makeover. So shout out to all my sponsors. I would not let you guys know right now who they are until I release the details next week. So you will see who my sponsors are. But for right now, shout out to my sponsors. Like, really, I greatly appreciate it that you guys are helping me with this, making my dream a reality. And I just can't wait until the day actually comes where I can see whoever the winner is and see their smile and their appreciation for me and for my sponsors to do this for them. So I'm just excited. And again, next week I will have all the details. So you want to stay tuned on Instagram and Facebook and turn on your post notifications. So when that information drop, you'll be the first one to know. All right. So, as I said, I will just be giving you some information or telling you my story and things that, I've been through and overcame. And sometimes I forget the things that I've been through in my life. And I say that because I've been through so much, y'all. I'll be forgetting half of the time things that I've been through until someone would tell me, like, you remember this and da 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 da. And I'm like, wow, that really did happen, huh? I just forgot about it. And sometimes we tend to forget about our struggles because of where we're at now. We're probably in a good place, but we're probably still struggling. But the struggle that we did have in the past, we kind of forget it. I don't know if you guys feel like that, but for me, that's how I feel sometimes. Like, it's not that I just want to forget. It was so traumatic, I guess, that I just want to forget about it. It's just like literally, I think I just been through too much things in life where I can't even dwell on the struggles in the past, because we all got struggles. I mean, you can be famous, you can be whatever. You all got some kind of struggle or you're going through something. And I mean, I guess we have the power to control our lives. So some of you may not even have any struggles, but for my people who have struggled or is struggling, it's not that we forget intentionally, but it's just that we have so much things going on that we can't dwell on the past, and you shouldn't dwell on the past. I mean, I came from cars being repoed to running up credit cards and having bad credit. I mean, y'all know what I'm talking about when you were young and you like, oh, you got that one credit card and then, oh, you get another credit card. Oh, you get 3, 4 credit cards. You use them up and you don't pay them back. Let me tell you something. I had learned my lesson when it comes to credit cards because when I was in my early 20s at that time, it was credit cards and payday loans. I know y'all know about them payday loans because you would get them loans and then you would pay them back. And then you paying all of this extra crazy money for these payday loans. But we needed it at the time, right? Because I know I did need it at the time. And I'm not saying I regret it, but hey, I had to do what I had to do back then in my early 20s, get them payday loans and had to take care of some things because I wasn't really making that much money. I had my son. I was living on my own, had to pay rent. So, had a car note as well. And then, of course, got that repo because couldn't afford the car. So, getting car repoed to taking the bus, going to work in the winter, in the snow, to getting my car totaled. Didn't have full coverage insurance on it. So again, I had to go back taking the bus with my son at this point. And I mean, when kids taking a bus when they're young, they like it. They think it's fun. So I'm glad that when he was at that age, he thought it was fun and it was interesting to him versus, they wouldn't know that you're struggling, but versus him thinking like, oh, we don't have it, we got to take the bus. But we didn't have to take the bus for long with that because with me, I always have a goal and I always have a plan. That's one thing with me. Always have a plan. God may have a plan for me, but then sometimes I be interfering with it and I try to make up my own plan and we can't do that half of the time. But being realistic and, I have a plan. God have his plan for me. And at this time when I didn't have a car, my plan was, okay, when I get my tax money, because, we all do this sometimes too, when you get your tax money, you're going to do this and you're going to do that. So that was my goal and that was my plan. When I get my tax money, I will go and get me a car. And that's what I did. Got my tax money. I went down to the dealership and I got my car. And that was my, I think it was a 2009 Altima. Yes, at that time it was a 2009 Altima. And I'm someone who, like, I've been through some cars. Yes, I have been through cars. I probably had about 5 cars throughout my life, I guess. I want to say, yeah, probably about 5. Um, because I'm just like a car junkie. Like I gotten better because before it was like I need to change my car and I will find some way how to change my car, but that's not really smart. So now I changed my mind. The car that I have now, it will be staying with me until I pay it off. I got to be smart about, my money and my choices that I am making. And as I'm getting older, I'm glad that I have wisdom and using my wisdom and not having that mentality from when I was younger. Because not sometimes, it's good to grow. It is good to grow. Thank God for growth. Let me just tell you, thank God for growth. But yes, so been through having repos, lost a job, got fired from a job, didn't even know how I was going to make ends meet. But, you know, I made ends meet, got a job within the next month after losing my job. But this is just real. This is me being transparent with you guys because I don't want people to look at me now and think like, okay, well, she got, a car, she got her house, she got a job, she's doing her business, she got, things going for herself. Yes, I may have things going for myself and I may have more than some, or some people have more than what I have, but it took a while to get where I am today. Everything did not happen overnight. Trust me, I struggled for some good couple of years before I got to this place of having my own place and having my car. Once I had got my car totaled in an accident, well, yes, totaled in an accident. That's a whole nother thing. Let me tell you something. Don't let nobody use your car. Don't let nobody use your car. And make sure you have full coverage. I tell people that all the time. Your car can be worth $2,000. Put some full coverage on that because anything happens to that car, you ain't going to get a dime for it. Trust me, I learned my lesson from that accident. I made sure I had full coverage on all my cars. And either way, if you are making payments on your car, you have to have full coverage anyway. So it don't even matter. But for people who are not paying on your car, one piece of advice. If you don't take nothing else from me throughout this episode, let me tell you, put full coverage on your car. Stop being cheap and don't be cheap. Put full coverage on your car. You'll thank me later. Trust me, you will thank me later because anything could happen. You need full coverage. It's better you paying your deductible than you have to come out thousands of dollars to fix a car that's probably not even worth all of that, because depending on what it is, sometimes they may just total out your car if the damages are more than what your car is worth. So if push comes to shove and that happens, they would cut you a check for what your car is worth. So it's better to walk away with a little bit of cash than no cash at all. Sorry, that was just a nugget for someone, so I'm sorry. I just had to let you guys know. But anyways, back to my story. So, even though I'm where I'm at now, I've been through some things. Everything was not glitter and gold and glamorous, and it's still not like that because, as I said in the beginning, I am not where I want to be in life at this time. I am not, because I'm continuing to grow and I'm continuing to evolve, and I am going to continue to want more out of life. And that's what it is. I'm going to want more out of life. So I'm not where I am, but I am thankful and grateful for the thing that I did go through, because it gave me wisdom to be smart in things, um, when it comes to making decisions in my life. So, went from paying um, rent for some time. And, as I said, um, in my previous episodes, probably 2 or 3 episodes, that after I left my abusive relationship, I went back and lived with my mother. So that took a lot of courage for me to do that, because I was like, I don't know if I can go back and live with my mom. Like, I've been out on my own for so long. For me to go back, you know, I don't know if I can do that. Like, what would it be like to live back with my mom? I had all these thoughts going in my head. But at that time, my goal was, I'm going to go back to school, do what I need to do, and stay with her for a year. And then I will get another apartment. So that was my goal, right? I mean, well, that was my plan, I should say, right? That was my plan. Going back to my mother's house, going to school, and only being there for a year. When I moved back with my mom, I did enroll in school, and let me tell you something. So I had a plan of staying there for a year, but that year turned into 3 years, because that wasn't my plan. I don't, again, that may have been God's plan, right? But my plan was to stay there for a year and move out, just to get back, to trying to save some money. And while I'm in school, that was the plan, right? Obviously, I was there for 3 years. And in that 3 years, I was working on rebuilding my credit. So, got a couple of credit cards and kept paying on those and made sure those were in good standing. And then got pregnant with my daughter during that time period as well. And so, and I was grateful that I had my mother when I had my daughter, because it that the help is needed, and my daughter father was not there. So, and I had a C-section. So, when you have a C-section, you need help with certain things. So I'm really grateful that my mother was there to help me with that. And also, she was able to see her grandchild every day. Because when I had my son, I was at my mom's house too. So, she was fortunate to have me in her house, I guess, right? But it wasn't really about me. But she was able to grow up with her grandchildren being with her. So, that was a plus. But yes, so back to where I was getting at. So yeah, so the plan was to stay there for a year, but ended up staying there for 3 years. And throughout the 3 years that I was there, I was able to finish school. I didn't finish school when I wanted to finish school, because the plan was for me to finish school in 2015. That was the plan. But things happened where I had to take a leave, and then I started back up. And people always tell you, don't take a break, because you never go back. But let me tell you something, baby. With me, when my mind is set on something, it's set on something. So I had to take a leave, and then I went back the next semester. So that pushed me to 2017 of graduating from Springfield College. And sometimes we don't understand, like, our setbacks. As I said, we may have a plan for our lives, but God has something else. And even though the plan switched from 2015 to 2017, I did meet some great friends along the way during that time of my graduation or completion of my degree getting pushed back. I did meet some great friends, and one of my friends, she will always say, "You my good girlfriends. We good girlfriends." She know who she is if she's listening to this, or anyone who knows her know who she is when I say, "You my good girlfriend." So yeah, so I had met my good girlfriends during that time, and we did, we had each other backs. Like, I don't know, we were like the three amigos. Like, everywhere I go, you see them too. And if you see either one of them, you see all of us. So we were like the three amigos in school, and they were older than me, which was fine. But, I learned things from each of those ladies. And, they all had their own things that they went through life. And, just to see where they were at now, or at the time that, they decided to go back to school, but we all made that commitment to go back to school because we all wanted one thing in common. We wanted to set an example for our children. So I think that's what really brought us all together, because we had that one goal, or one goal in mind was to graduate with our bachelor's and to set an example for our kids and to start something different, with us as a generation of graduating and having our degrees so that our kids can follow in our footsteps. So I am grateful that I did go through that and meet those two beautiful women. Yes, we had each other's back. But again, so back to my story that I'm trying to tell y'all. But yes, so, again, my plan was 2015, but it pushed to 2017. And that is okay, because at the end of the day, I was still able to accomplish that goal that I had, was to finish school. And I was so excited to finish school, and that I graduated with my bachelor's degree in human services. So grateful, and I did great. In school, you get to network and meet a lot of people, and people in different fields, and you hear their stories as far as where they've been. I mean, what they've been through in life, but to see where they're at now and the decisions that they made to go to school and to better themselves, and to also work in the field of human services to help people that was once like them. So that was great to see that, because I was in the accelerated program at Springfield College, where you go on the weekends. So it's an adult program. So you're meeting adults from ages, I believe it's 25 all the way up until probably 60. There was people in there who had grandkids who were like 50 and 60 years old, but it just showed their level of commitment. Like, no matter their age, that they went back to school. Like, this is something that they wanted to do and wanted to accomplish. Whether they didn't have anything else to do, they wanted to go back to school. It doesn't matter. We all had that one thing in common. We all had stories that we can tell each other what we've been through and how we overcame it. We never know our path. We never know our plan, and we never will understand the things that we go through based off the choices that we made, or the situations that happen, or the experiences that we may go through. We may never understand that at the time that we go through it, but at the end of the day, God has a plan for us. And we may not know what the plan is, and we may not know what it looks like, but He has a plan for us that is so much bigger than us, so much bigger than what we're thinking, and beyond what we're thinking. As I always say, we put limitations on our lives because we don't walk into our full purpose. We don't we let that word fear creep in to not fulfill the plans that God have, or to fulfill and walking in your purpose and owning it, and not being ashamed of where you came from, because that's the beauty of it, of your story, is that you can share with the world or with people where you came from and what happened to you to where you are now. And as I said, I am not where I want to be, but I am grateful for where I am now, because I did experience some things in life, and I am here to be able to share with you the things that I went through and how I overcame it to get where I am today. And I will continue to share with you my stories along the way until I get to where I want to be. Because at the end of the day, we're giving God the praise. He gets the glory of everything in our lives. So it's not that, oh, I'm doing it to show off and to say, yeah, I'm here now. No, I'm trying to let you guys know what God brought me through and what He took me out of. That's what I'm telling you. So I'm giving Him the glory. I'm telling you what He's doing and what He's capable to do in your life, regardless of the situation. He's going to help you. You just need to have faith and don't give up and keep going because He has a plan for you. There is a plan for your life. There is a purpose for your life. Just remember that and don't give up. So anywho, so yes, I was at my mother's house for 3 years and, got these credit cards and was working on these credit cards, paying on them and everything like that. And mind you now, I know I touched on it in a couple of previous episodes where I said I applied for housing. So I applied for housing in one of the towns where I live in Connecticut, and that was my plan, right? That I am going to stay at my mom's house now until I get through this housing and I am going to live there. That was my plan because, like I said, I always have a plan. So I'm sorry, I'm drinking water. I do apologize. So that was my plan of staying there until I got the housing. And then, of course, an unfortunate situation happened where it was just, let me tell you something. I was so close on that list. I think I was like number 3 on the list. And that's the thing, too, sometimes, y'all. We can't be telling people everything about our plans and what we got going on. We can't. So, I open my mouth and telling people things, like, oh, I'm on the list or whatever, and I'm waiting. I'm like number 3 on the list, right? And open my mouth, told the wrong person. That person basically worked the system, lied to say that they was living in a shelter in order for them to get pushed to the top of the list and got in before me when they applied a whole year after me. Mind you, I was on this waiting list probably for a good couple of months, probably 6 months or more. And they lied, cheated the system, said that they were homeless, got a letter because one of their homegirls, worked at a shelter where they could got the letter and say that, oh, they was homeless, and they got bumped ahead on the list and then moved right on it in. Right? They did everything wrong about that. Lied and put an extra kid on it so they can get a 3-bedroom, all of that. Yes. So I've been sabotaged too in life, and so this is what happens, right? Being honest and transparent. We do have people that would do those things to us, and at that time, I could never understand, like, yo, why did this happen to me? Like, what did I do to deserve this? I've been waiting on this list and waiting, to get in here, because this was my plan. Like, why is this happening to me? Like, come on, like, why is this happening? This is my plan. And one of my good girlfriends, she was like, she calls me Kay, and she was like, Kay, why don't you just get a house? And I'm like, but why? Because that was not my plan. I always wanted to get a house. I always wanted to get a house, but that was not my plan at that time, because to get a house, you got to prepare for a house, right? You have to have your down payment, your credit got to be right. You have to have a plan in order to get a house. Who just wakes up one morning and says, oh, I'm gonna get a house? That's not, unless you got the money, you can do that. But for someone like me who was struggling and definitely did not have the money, who gets up to say, oh, I'm going to get up and apply for a house, right? Because that was my plan. I wasn't trying to get a house at that point. My plan was trying to get into housing. That was my plan. So I said, you know what? I said, okay, I'll try it. So I applied and I got pre-approved. I was like, wow, did not even think, because again, that was not my plan, was to get a house. But that was God's plan. It wasn't mine. It was God's plan. So even though we may have all these plans, right? for our lives. God got something else planned. He be looking at us laughing like, child, please. Like, you think you're going to do that, but that's not what you're going to do. Like, child, sit down and let me show you what I'm about to do for you. And I laugh because I really be making a plan for myself in my life and what I'm going to do. And then God will come in and interrupt it because he's like, that's not the plan. This is the plan that I have for you. And, I just went with it. And little do I know, I was preparing for it because, as I said, I got credit cards and I was making my payments and I was doing everything. My credit was up. So I was preparing for my house without me even consciously knowing because that was God's plan this whole time, right? Are you catching it? It was God's plan the whole time for me to get credit cards, pay on them, and work on bringing up my credit without me even knowing. So sometimes his plan is whatever it may be without you even knowing until it actually happens. Then you was like, wow, you was being prepared for something you didn't even know you was getting prepared for. And I mean, as I said, I applied for the house and got pre-approved. Mind you, I had no down payment because I didn't know anything about purchasing a home and what the requirements were. Nothing. I didn't do any, I'm telling you guys, I did not do any kind of research at all as far as getting this house. Nothing. I didn't look at first time home buyer programs, no nothing. Yes, people talked about it and I was trying to get into a class, never got into the class. Well, signed up for it, but never went to the class. So I'm going into this all blind, right? So the lady told me when I came and looked at my condo, she said, okay, to make an offer, you need to put $1,000 down to hold it. I'm like, what? Like, where did this come from? Why you didn't tell me as my realtor that I need to put money down? Like, you can't see, that's the thing. When we can't assume people would know things, right? Because we do it too. I do it too, or used to. I'm trying to get better and stop assuming. We can't assume that somebody is purchasing a home or getting a service from us and we assume they may know. We don't know. So you can't assume. So that's why it's important for you to ask questions like, do you know what it is to buy a house, or do you know what the requirements are and what you need to do? And that's where you need, people who offer services need to educate people who are looking for these services. You can't assume that we know when we don't know. Don't assume. Ask questions. And you would know if you ask the questions, right? So tip to people who are offering services to people, whatever business you are in, it's good to ask questions. You can't assume somebody knows something because they really don't know anything, because I walked into it blind. So again, here I go, right? $1,000. Where I'm gonna get $1,000 from? Because I still got other bills and stuff that I need to pay, right? So where I'm gonna get this money from? But you know what? God had a plan, and it's funny, right? I always had a plan for everything, but for this one right here, I really didn't have a plan because I'm like, where am I getting this money from? But God had a plan. I was able to combine my bonus and a partial of my paycheck to combine to get the $1,000, with still being okay of all my other bills and responsibilities that I had to take care of. So God had a plan. He had a plan the whole time, right? And even though my house process was very rocky, towards the end when it was for me to close, God still had a plan. He still, even though I may have thought I'm not going to get this house because of the different situations that was coming up, God still had a plan. He still had a plan through it all. And we never may know what God plan is, because through all the turmoil, yes, that we go through in life, different situations that happen, different experiences, different trauma, through drama, all of that, we may never know what he had planned for our lives, because we're like, well, when am I going to see the sun? When am I going to see the light? When is all of this going to end, right? But no matter what, he has a plan for our lives, you guys. So no matter what it may look like, what you're going through, how it may make you feel, just know he has a plan behind it all. No matter how good things may be going for you right now or how bad it may be going for you right now, he has a plan. And I normally don't do this. Well, I never did this, but I am going to read the scripture from the Bible today because it's about God having a plan for your life. And some of you may know what scripture I'm going to read. Some of you may not know, but I am going to be reading Jeremiah 29:11, right? 29:11, Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. I'm going to read that again. Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. And I wanted to read that scripture because he knows the plans of our lives, right? Because he's the one that made them. And he knows the future for us. And we just need to continue to have hope and to have faith through it all, no matter what it may look like. No matter what it may look like, y'all. And even though you may have a plan for your life, God also have a plan, and that plan is going to outweigh your plan. I'm sorry to tell you, baby, but God's plan is going to outweigh your plan. So you may have a plan for your life, right? But God has one, and that's going to outweigh what you have planned. And I mean, it's okay when, God gives us the download, when that thing resonates in your spirit or that thing is just tugging on you. He gives us the download, right? So it's up to us to take it and to do something with whatever information that he gives us. So, and that's okay to do. That is okay to do, where you figure things out of how you're going to do this. But most of the times God have a plan, and he put people in your life to help you. So don't get frustrated because whatever you're going through, it may look like you're never going to come out of whatever you're going through, right? But we all go through it. We all go through it. Everybody would tell you how they've been through this and they've been through that. And sometimes they would get in their own way. And he has a plan, and sometimes, you may not, like I said this before, you may not take the route that he wants to take you, but you're still going to end up at your destination, that plan that he has for you. You're still going to end up there. You may have took an extra 10 to 20 steps versus taking the 5 steps to get there, but through that journey, you learn some things and you're able to share with some people, what you went through along that journey. And that's what I am doing through my Reclaiming Your Life podcast. I've been through some things in my life, and there were some things where, I let it get to me and I let it consume me. And I had to reclaim my life. Like, I really had to reclaim my life and says, you know what? I want better. I'm going to do better. And that's when I changed and made some decisions that, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it right. And I'm going to figure out what I need to do to get where I need to be. So, Reclaiming Your Life podcast, this is so near and dear to me because I want to help women all over to be able to have the courage to pick themselves up and not to be ashamed of who they are, regardless of what they've been through, where they came from, but to be happy with themselves and to love themselves and to accept themselves so that you guys can be able to pursue your dreams, because that's what I'm doing now. I reclaimed my life, and now I'm able to walk into my purpose of helping women overcome insecurities and the self-doubt and the fears that they have within themselves to be able to pursue their dreams regardless of whatever dreams that you may have. It can be anything, but I'm here to help you to get over all these things that you have within yourself, to love yourself, to be able to accomplish the things that you want in life. But this went over a little bit longer than usual than my normal episodes, but I am glad that it did, and I hope that you were inspired and hope that you were able to take something from it today. And let me know what you guys think. Again, let me know what topics that you want to discuss. Email me, hit me up on my social media so that we can connect, join my community. I want to build a community of women where we can inspire and encourage one another. We can help each other through the things that we go through, because I am big on quotes. Everybody will tell you I am a sucker when it comes to quotes. I love quotes because it's so inspirational. It's so uplifting. That's why I like it, because it's like, I felt that one, or it resonated with me. Like, I can do this. And that is the purpose of reclaiming your life. Again, thank you for tuning in on Friday, each and every Friday. So all my new listeners, come back. Check me out next week, Friday. You will enjoy it. But until next time, I will talk to you guys later. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe and leave a review.